The Miami Heat have been one of the hottest teams in this year's playoffs, and that raises the question, can a Jimmy Butler-led Miami Heat team have a shot at making the finals or even winning a championship? What's up, guys? This is the Switch Factor official YouTube channel, and I would really appreciate if you guys take a moment to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Looking at the playoff bracket, the Heat played the Pacers in the first round of the playoffs, where they absolutely torched them while cooling down a red-hot TJ Warren, who is coming off an incredible run in the bubble, where he averaged an outstanding 29.3 points per game. The Heat are now faced with the first-seed Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and have gotten off to a surprising 2-0 serious lead against the Bucks. This comes as a surprise to many, as the Bucks, a team who held the best record in this year's NBA standings, are down 2-0 in a playoff series to a 5th-seeded Miami Heat team. With a 6-0 playoff record, the Miami Heat are now the only team, along with the Boston Celtics, who remain undefeated in this year's playoffs. With just 2 more wins against the Bucks, the Heat will advance to play the winner of the Boston Celtics vs Toronto Raptors series, with Jimmy Butler going on to score 40 points in the first game against the Bucks, and then the following game nailing the game-winning free throws, as well as outstanding play from the rest of the Heat lineup, shooting about 46% from the field. This leads me to believe that the Miami Heat will defeat the Bucks and advance to play the winner of the Celtics vs Raptors series. Looking at that series, the Boston Celtics lead the defending champion Toronto Raptors 2-0 at the current time of this recording, while the Raptors, the 2nd seed in this year's Eastern Conference standings, are a great team. I believe that the loss of superstar Kawhi Leonard is too big for the Raptors to overcome, and therefore I see the Boston Celtics, a team led by All-Stars Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, as well as Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown, defeating the Toronto Raptors. Now, assuming that the Heat will advance past the Bucks and the Celtics will advance past the Raptors, we can predict a Heat versus Celtics Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Now that that's all said, here's why I see the Miami Heat defeating the Boston Celtics in a playoff series. First of all, looking at the most recent played game between the Heat and Celtics, we see something extremely important to make an argument that the Heat will beat the Celtics. When the Heat and Celtics most recently played against each other on August 4th, it is important to note that while the Celtics did have their whole lineup available, the Heat were playing without their star player, Jimmy Butler. Despite the absence of Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat were still able to defeat the Celtics in a team effort, coming off of multiple 20-point game performances from Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Goran Dragic. So why does all of this matter? The fact that the short-handed Heat were able to defeat the Celtics, who were playing with a full starting lineup, means that the Heat are fully capable of beating the Celtics even while being short-handed. Now bring in Jimmy Butler, a 5-time NBA All-Star, 4-time NBA All-Defensive Team, and one of the best scorers in the league, averaging just about 20 points per game. And to a Miami Heat team who were able to defeat the Celtics without him, he would clearly only make the Heat a better team to go against a talented and relentless Boston Celtics team. Aside from this, the Miami Heat also have an advantage over the Celtics considering how young the Celtics are. The Miami Heat team are loaded with veterans and players with plenty of playoff experience, such as Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder, as well as players such as Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, who can knock down shots with just inches of room around them. While the Celtics do have many great players, they are led by the just 22-year-old Jason Tatum, who has only been to the playoffs 2 other times in his short career. They are also led by Kemba Walker, who has no real playoff experience, coming off a Hornets team from the previous season, who's been one of the league's worst teams for the past decade or so. The pair also are playing in the playoffs together for the first time, so that lack of experience with one another in the playoffs adds to the Heat advantage over the Boston Celtics. However, we
can't forget that the Boston Celtics nearly made the NBA Finals just 2 years ago, losing to a LeBron James-led Cleveland Cavaliers team in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. You can make an argument that the Celtics' lack of experience was the difference maker in that series against three-time NBA champion LeBron James. Now to clarify, do I have the Heat easily getting past the Celtics in a playoff series? The answer to that is absolutely not. Both teams are great teams, and while I do think it will be an extremely close and hard-fought series, I would have to say that I do think that the Miami Heat will come on top. In my opinion, the Heat have the clear advantage from being more experienced than the Celtics to having more players to rely on to make shots. If this series does end up happening, it will definitely be a close series as well as a very, very entertaining series that I very much look forward to watching. If you made it to the end, thank you guys very much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.